Joining me this evening is lawyer and activist Arun Agarwal. Arun sir, thank you so much for joining. And what would you say about the TMC's frozen bank accounts and the interim relief they have got from the court today?
Oh, good evening, Neeluji. See, it's not about the frozen account. It is something which is unprecedented, which strikes at the very root of the democracy. This is a Gestapo, worse than a Gestapo-like operation, going to a political party whose defectors, I use the word defectors for money, have not even clothed themselves with any legality. Their status is unknown because the Speaker of the Lok Sabha is not taking a decision, nor is the Election Commission going to take a decision. Whereas as far as the law is concerned, they are in clear-cut violation. They are not another party. The two-thirds applies to the party, not to the legislatures or the MPs. The law is very clear. It has been laid down. Yet, the Supreme Court Chief Justice, time and again at public forum says that we have to function like an ICU. There should be an ICU unit as there is in a hospital. But when emergencies arise which strike at the root of this democracy, they are found sleeping at the wheel. Every time that the nation has faced a crisis of democracy, the Supreme Court has been found wanting. It has not taken a decision. It has prolonged decisions. It has taken wrong decisions. And at the end of the day, it has misused its power under 142 to involve the judiciary in doing wrong against the opposition party and in favor of the ruling party. I'll give you an example of this, that when the additional district judge were asked to function as BLOs and EROs, they disenfranchised 27 lakh voters by this thing. When they went in appeal in one ex-chief justice's case in the tribunal, 1,777 cases went. All the cases were decided against the Election Commission and the ADJs who had passed those orders. 1717 was decided in favor of the appealing this thing, people whose name had been removed from the electoral roll, and the balance 60 odd cases where the Election Commission had appealed and those two were removed. So what we are seeing is that the state government, central government, election commissioner, and the judiciary, all of them are acting in a partisan manner to finish democracy. There is a saying that democracy dies in darkness. That is in fact the logo of Washington Post newspaper. But here we find that the democracy is being killed in daylight and by every means that the state can adopt. So far, the political parties enjoyed immunity from all these structures of the state order. But this is for the first time. Earlier, IT was used to freeze the funds of the Congress during the 24 election. Here, now there is a split. So a FIR is filed by a dissident who is a rogue, who is a defector, who is a turncoat. These are the only epithets who has not been given legitimacy by any authority. And
basically, it's a complaint filed by a traitor, the traitor of the party.
And the very next day, because they want to lay hand on these funds, their grubby, oily hands, they want to grab these funds. Whom do they use? ED, come ED. Here it is next day. We'll come to the charges next and how there is a difference in treatment of all these people.
No, so you are clearly saying that these bank accounts of TMC, the 3 bank accounts which were frozen, were clearly and deliberately done with an eye to capture all the money which was there in TMC's accounts, and all this money now will go to BJP's coffer.
Oh, no, it will not go to the BJP coffer. It will go to create a sham opposition like you have in Russia. We are a Russian state to create a false opposition and fund them. And to ensure that the TMC doesn't have any access, like they did with Mayawati. They used the threat and she withdrew. So this is nothing but a state action, BJP action, to nullify the access to funds by the legitimate TMC. Without
But
funds, you are
are
nobody.
you aware of any such episode in the past? Is there a past precedent where the court becomes a party into freezing a political party's account?
No, that's what I'm saying, that they have gone into uncharted territory. And I'm shocked that all the political parties have not protested. Your turn will also come. One by one, this is what they are going to do. If at all anybody was to be raided, it was the BJP. And I'll tell you why. Because they were the biggest beneficiaries of those in whose balance sheet there was no profit. They were shell companies. And yet they donated not only 7.5, more than 75% in total violation of the law which was struck down. And yet neither Chandrachud moved nor this ED moved. Both of them are guilty of inaction on a judgment that was given. And I'll tell you that one of the common source of funds, there is one Martin Lottery King. What he does is, where his lottery is allowed and he's supposed to give a certain amount, and lotteries are illegal in most states and it is a state subject. So he donates massively to the political parties. So he had donated 540 crores to Trinamool. That is as per the data that was there in the electoral bond case. 507 crores to DMK, 100 crores.
Doesn't it say 440 crores? These three frozen bank accounts, they have money to the tune of 40.
See, this ED is being very clever. And it is very corrupt. Most corrupt organization in the country. What it has done is, it has not gone in the source of funds where money laundering has taken place. Shell companies who have donated to BJP, that they have not investigated. They have gone into the expenditure. What is the gravamen of the charges? Because I know both finance and law. What I make up on this thing, I make up on finance. They gave 150 crores. I think some figure, 160 crores to an aircraft leasing company for higher charges.
Yes.
Between 23 to now. That means it covers 2 elections. I am sure the BJP's figure will be 1,000 crores. Now they are accusing, because it is a leasing company, naturally, if there is demand, somebody is to hire, they will go and purchase aircraft. So they purchase the aircraft. Now they are saying that you finance that purchase of the aircraft by giving this money to lease the aircraft. And there is something as a back-to-back lease, which occurs in finance, where you finance the asset and then you take it back on the lease in order to remove it from your balance sheet and show a better profit and loss account so that it doesn't go into the capital expenditure and only the rent is paid. So that concept they have adopted here. When the accounts are audited, from 23 onwards, they were being audited. They were filed with the Election Commission. Who is the proper authority? Election Commission. Who is sitting there? The most corrupt election commissioner till date. Which is the bank? HDFC. Who is sitting there? Another chief election commissioner, Rajiv Kumar, recently appointed. Everything is a coincidence.
No, but this entire thing of how money was transferred to an aviation firm, is this a deliberately cooked up story which ED is trying to give through their press statements?
You please disclose how much of funds does BJP transfer and how many aircrafts that company purchases. It is the biggest. You see, they are spending 10,000 crores. If a political party is spending 500, the ratio is 20:1 in white. In black, though, God knows how much they are spending. So everybody, suppose you buy, so let us imagine the worst case scenario, that they did purchase it. If you are using your funds to purchase a motor car, is it illegitimate? It is a mode of transportation. If BJP purchases 5 aircrafts, What is the illegality? You will freeze the account. You audit the account. The audited accounts have been filed up to date. And this complaint pertains to 23-26, where 3 accounts have been frozen. What does it show? That the central government, ED, that is through ED, the Election Commission, and the dissident, and I dare say the court, most important, they are all hand in glove to see to it that the democracy is stops functioning in this court. And
So
what is
Arun,
it?
you remember when Congress's accounts were also frozen just before the elections? I believe their accounts were frozen. How do you see that case and this case as any different?
Well, Congress was a little fortunate because they had lost in all the income tax appeals and all that, merely because they have filed their returns a little late. It was a very technical this thing for which you could not freeze the account. Ultimately, it went to the Supreme Court, where you had a neutral, I wouldn't say friendly, judge who saw through this game and allowed the operation of the account. Otherwise, Congress would have not got 99 seats, it would have sunk over there. It would have been ready. This is the underhand. See, these people are not bothered. RSS is being investigated for being a terrorist organization in USA, in spite of their lobbying. Does the ED know that every transaction of the RSS is done in cash? These people have gone to the villages, not even town, villages, collected money in the name of Ram Mandir. Not a single paisa has been collected by check. Everything in rokda, cash, cash. Where has that cash gone? How much of the cash was there? How much of money came from abroad to VHP to build the temple which was misappropriated? These things they will not investigate. Now all this story that is going on in Ram temple, these have been converted into assets by the political party in power as well as the RSS. Does the ED have the guts to investigate this? So we are looking at a police state.